Hey, what is up, PlusUltraFam? It is me, PlusUltraman, and today we are here for our 6th podcast. I sound kind of tired because I've actually just recorded this twice, and both times I realized I didn't switch to my actual recording microphone. I was basically just speaking towards my laptop, and the audio sounded so bad. I redid it once, and then I redid it another time, and both times I did not fix the problem. So this is the third time I'm recording almost this entire podcast. So here we go. Now, I want to bring you guys' attention towards the gameplay on this podcast. What I decided to do was name all the fighters in Dragon Ball Team Training after you members of the PlusUltraFam. And I'll use those so I give the PlusUltraFam shoutouts to as my team for that episode. And speaking of our PlusUltraFam shoutouts for today, we have Burton Lazo Garcia, Lone Wolf McQuaid, Remote Rewind, who I think has just changed his name on YouTube actually, Anime Noob, Pedro, Jose Bello Belin, and again, Pedro, if I need to, think about how I pronounce your name, please do let me know, man. I will definitely do that. And Tim Worley. We really didn't have too many interesting comments on this one. Not to say you guys didn't have anything interesting to say. It's just that most of the comments were what ifs and not something I could really just speak to. Lone McQuaid compliments mine and Mondo's speaking voices, which I really appreciated. Doug said this is awesome, Mondo and PlusUltraman, which again I really appreciate it. And Ghostly Grinder says great video and thanks. He appreciates the hard work. So again, thanks Ghostly. I really appreciate that, man. And today what I wanted to do was try 3 longer what ifs instead of a multiple, shorter what if format. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my hardest to remember to leave you guys with a poll in the iCard that will decide, hey, do you guys want me to do one what if, or, not one, but 3 what ifs that are shorter, or do multiple what ifs that are faster, but you get more bang for your buck. So just let me know what you want. And moving into our what ifs, Jacob Lewis asks, what if all Saiyans could become Super Saiyan? Now, full disclosure, Jacob, I did not do this the way I'm expecting you thought I was going to do this. The way I saw this happening was way different. But the way I see this happening is you can either go one of 2 ways. You could make all the Saiyans like the Universe 6 Saiyans, and they're very, very pure heart, and it's very easy for them to reach Super Saiyan just because they have so many S cells. Or you could change what Super Saiyan is and make it a little different. The way I go with this is basically you replace Great Ape with Super Saiyan. And what I would do is I would make False Super Saiyan canon in this timeline. And Super Saiyan is False Super Saiyan, while normal, Super Saiyan 1 is, weird as that is to say, is something I guess you would call the Legendary Super Saiyan. That would be the true form of Super Saiyan. Now, Nappa was an Elite Saiyan at 4,000, so let's say that about 2,500 to 3,000 is an average Saiyan, I guess. I don't know too much. I don't know if this has ever been spoken of in canon. I think an interesting thing to do would be that King Vegeta and King Cold might not be the same type of dynamic in this one. Maybe King Cold might have feared King Vegeta the same way that Frieza, just was kind of scared of the Super Saiyan as a legend. Maybe King Cold is just a little more wary. He might not attack them, he might not do anything, but by the time that Frieza takes over, Frieza might be a little more wary of the Saiyans. So I think that he tries to take them out just like he does in canon, and it's a pretty justified means of doing it because the Saiyans are very, very powerful. They have this transformation that makes them even more powerful. Now, with that said, I think Frieza is way too prideful to try and go to his final form to destroy the Saiyans. So let's say that he's in that 530,000 power level in that form, that first form, when he throws his supernova. I think that Bardock would have still seen the signs, and this timeline, with King Vegeta maybe being a little more wary of King Cold because he just sees the fear in his eyes, he just sees the wariness in him, he might actually, also be seeing these signs. So I think if you have Bardock, who is probably at 10,000, and King Vegeta, who might have been 9,000 to 10,000, yeah, they're both going to be going into Super Saiyan. And maybe if King Vegeta does it, his entire Royal Guard, Nappa, or his Saiyan generals, everybody goes into Super Saiyan to fight back against Frieza. So that means that, you have Bardock, King Vegeta, that's already 500,000, just those two combined. You add in more Saiyans on top of that. At some point, Frieza's blast is going to get pushed back at him and his entire fleet. And I think when that happens, that just destroys Frieza and his entire, his forces. They're all gone because they just got this entire beam pushed back on top of them. And behind that is an entire beam of just Super Saiyan attacks. With that done, King Vegeta warns his subjects of what had just happened, and that King Cold's revenge was very imminent. And I think with this happening, a decision is made to try and save as many of the Saiyan races they possibly could. So, just in case, they're going to send a few weak Saiyan babies and some of the weak Saiyan cooks like Gine off planet to ensure that the race survives. When this is decided, I think Gine hears of it and steals a pot to go and find Kakarot just to make sure that her baby's going to be okay. Now, the planet they're sent to could be literally anywhere in the universe, but for the sake of simplicity, let's just say it's Earth, just to keep things normal and just easy for me to do. I think if this happens, then let's say that, maybe 8 Saiyan babies, not including Goku, and 8 Saiyan females that just cook and clean and do like menial tasks around the planet, not including Gine, are sent to Earth just to take care of these kids and make sure that everything goes smoothly. And if everything blows over King Cold, they destroy King Cold, take over the Cold Force, then they will come back and save them and bring them back to King Vegeta or Planet Vegeta, and everything will be cool after that. Now, when landing on Earth, I'm sure the first priority is to find all the Saiyan children, and if they have scouters, it could be pretty easy for everybody but Gine. Goku's starting power level was 2, and I imagine that 2 is very, very common around Earth. I think they say that farming the shotgun was the average. I don't think it was really the average. I think he could be a little over, a little higher, a little lower. You don't really know. That's only one person we really saw. So if that's the average around there, like 2 might not be too impressive. That might take Gine a long time to find him if she's in a scouter. Now, let's say by luck of the draw that she does find, like, maybe through motherly intuition, or Saiyans are shown to have like good senses of smell, so maybe she's able to sniff him out if she's in the same general area. Somehow, some way, she does find Goku. Though, seeing this basically mass immigration, I guess you can call it, because you've just had like 18 Saiyan pods, all with Saiyans and, young Saiyans laying on Earth. The Galactic Patrol is probably going to take notice of this, and Jaco and maybe a few other Galactic Patrolmen are going to come down and just see what's going on. And I feel like they would talk to maybe some of the Saiyan caretakers and be like, hey, what's going on? And these aren't fighters. They can tell these aren't fighters. They have very weak power levels. These women aren't really here to fight. They're just here to take care of these children. I think they explain what had happened with Frieza and what's going to happen with King Cold. And the Galactic Patrolmen probably leave, just go investigate what's going to happen. Now, coming back, they're going to inform that, hey, Planet Vegeta is not there. There are no survivors left. King Cold must have won. That being said, you guys are now considered refugees, and we will allow you to stay on this planet called ER Earth. Now, that's going to make whoever the Saiyan caretakers that, these Galactic Patrolmen are talking to really sad, but like I said, these aren't warriors. These aren't, women who really want revenge, so I think they're going to let it go at this. From here, they just want to integrate into human society and live very peaceful lives, kind of like what they were already doing on Planet Vegeta. But if I were to really have my way with this story, I would have these young Saiyans ending up in a lot of different areas that Goku never really, landed in. There are other Saiyan babies, so let's really have fun with this. One lands on an old man's island with a turtle. One lands in the temple of a man with a crane hat. One lands in the military base of a short-haired, red-haired man. One lands in a snowy village. One lands in a desert-type area with very little water. One lands in the lab of Capsule Corp. One lands at the base of the tower where a man patrols with a spear. Maybe one even becomes Pilaf's henchman or something. Like, you could do a lot of really fun things with this. Hell, maybe even have one land on Kami's lookout with Kami and Mr. Popo. This completely changes the Dragon Ball story, which is why I'm saying this probably isn't really suited for me to do in a What If. I know Jacob didn't really ask for this. This is kind of where my mind instantly jumped to. Now, this would probably be better suited for a fan manga or maybe even a fan fiction. I don't really write fan fiction. I'd love to commission a fan manga and write it myself. But, this would probably just be better suited for that because there's a lot of variables you have to do through character writing of this. Like, with the Rebel Army Saiyans go along with the ideas of Rebel Army. With the Saiyan raised in Nan's village even want to be a fighter. With Kami and Mr. Popo even allow the Saiyans to live, let alone the one that lands on their lookout. Could they defeat the Saiyan caretakers that are taking care of them, in any regard? So there's a lot of stuff you really got to answer with these questions. And of course, Gine and Goku are kind of wild cards. So again, Jacob, I know I probably went way off the walls with this, man, but this is just really where my mind went with this. There's, like I said, there's a bunch you could do with this. I would love to see some type of fan manga or maybe draft one myself. I'd really love to write this. And I'd maybe call it like Dragon Ball Refugee or something. But again, Jacob, I hope you enjoyed the story nonetheless, man. Also, in interest of pulling some what if suggestions from people I haven't done them for yet, I went back to podcast number 3 and got 2 what ifs from there. My Hero what if for today and my Naruto what if for today are both from podcast number 3, because podcast number 5 had what ifs from people who had already basically done the what ifs of. So I'll be trying to keep it to where I'm doing a new what if from a new person just about every other time I make a podcast episode, just so I'm not catering to 1 or 2 people. I just wanted you guys to know that, full disclosure. Now, Xavier asks, what if Deku had a healing factor? I don't think this works, or this idea really works, unless you make it a pretty extreme level of regeneration. Like, let's say it's not necessarily like Wolverine or Deadpool levels of regeneration, where they're just being melted down to the bone, or their body parts can be severed and just reattached and they regrow them pretty easily. But maybe Hulk levels of regeneration. Now, I do think there is one feat of Hulk's where he regenerated from being like put like melted down to his bones and came back like really, really quickly. But I'm just trying to give you a level of regeneration that Deku can have. The first thing is, I don't think this quirk really be found in a hospital. Let's say the day that Deku finds out all men are not created equal, his wounds begin to quickly heal up, and he is back up ready to fight Bakugo and his goons again. He goes down over and over and over again, taking on more and more damage because Bakugo and his friends are just getting so mad at this little pipsqueak won't get down. And they don't really realize, oh, he's healing until Bakugo just burns him on the eye like really, really hard. He's like on some Prince Zuko or Todoroki type stuff. And Deku's eye just heals immediately. And everybody's like, he has a quirk. I feel like after this, they're going to give up just because Deku won't stay down. Deku will keep getting back up, especially with this type of quirk. And from here, I don't think Bakugo and Deku become friends. Like, yeah, Bakugo and Deku both have quirks now, and they're both really cool quirks. But I feel like Bakugo is going to really resent Deku because he feels like he didn't win this fight. And we all know Bakugo doesn't like to lose. So I think it's more like a Sasuke-Naruto relationship, like early in the Sasuke in the Naruto timeline, where they just basically hate each other because they just don't understand each other. Now, having a quirk as gross as it is, Deku is still very gung-ho about being a hero, and now he really believes he can be one. And I feel like his mom is going to encourage him too. So he's going to maybe begin to train his body and study heroes. Now, he might do as much training as like what Bakugo did in canon, but he's not going to be some super soldier, I don't think. Now, that said, this whole scenario depends on like how physically strong and fast you as a writer decide to make Deku. In my opinion, in My Hero Academia, if you just train really, really hard physically, you can get extremely strong and fast. We see that Lemillion and Stain are both extremely strong and fast people, though their quirks don't affect their physicality in any way. From my knowledge, at least, I've never read any manga panel where that's stated. Now, if this is to happen, if you're going to say that Deku is getting like close to those levels of physicality, then yeah, this story would be a lot easier to do, but Deku would probably still fade into obscurity. If you don't do that, it's even easier for him to, become more background character in this story. So let's go off with the idea that he's getting really close to like a million levels of strength. He can punch you and you're going to fly back, or he can run and you're going to feel the wind like coming off his strides. Now, I don't see much of the first part of the series really changing. The Sludge Villain attack may still happen, and Deku is going to have to be saved by All Might. But All Might just leaves, and Deku doesn't grab onto him because he basically knows he can be a hero. So he just goes home. And from here, his 10 months of training for the UA entrance exams are going to happen. That training might involve some more studying or, not as much physical training, but he probably still do some. And I feel like at some point he needs to pick up on martial art just so he doesn't just throw wild haymakers all the time. You could argue that Deku still gets one for all. I don't think he would at all. It doesn't seem likely to me. A big reason as to why All Might gives Deku one for all is because he is quirkless. He reminds him a lot of himself when he was younger, and he thinks that Deku is really going to understand the value of having a power like this. I don't think that really happens in this timeline. I really don't like when people do that and just say like, oh, even though Deku has this really amazing overpowered quirk, he's still getting one for all on top of it just because I really want him to have it. And if we say that Deku is a million levels of strength, then he's going to be able to get into UA really easily, I think. During the UA entrance exams, he's going to be able to just smash his hands into the robots and do a lot of damage to them. Like, he might be blowing his hands apart and just, like, mangling them. They're just destroyed and red and bloody, but they're growing right back, and all the heroes are looking at him and be like, oh, that's really gross, but it's kind of cool, and he's really talented. This kid might be able to go somewhere if he just had some really good, like, support items. So, Deku definitely gets some villain points, and by the time that Uraraka is trapped and about to be crushed, I feel like he can just run over, put the robo off of her, and then run away, because he's probably fast enough to do it in this timeline. And she may lose some rescue points, but he doesn't. And either way, I feel like Uraraka would have still probably made it in. I think she was very high on the rankings, if I remember correctly. Now, from here, we move on to Eraserhead's quirk apprehension test. I think that, like in my Generator Deku story, Minato would end up being kicked out of UA. A lot of people didn't like that, but this is actually what would have happened to Deku if he couldn't control One for All the way he did. The thing is that Deku shows so much potential to Eraserhead that Eraserhead is like, this kid has to stay at UA. This kid just has to. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I really doubt Mineta has any type of power or ability where he can do something like that that just shows him that, oh yeah, this kid is going to have the same type of potential that Deku has. I actually had somebody argue that, oh no, well, because Mineta can use his pop-off balls, he's going to be able to do like the side-to-side jumping really, really well. And I was like, okay, cool. That's one event out of 20 or whatever they did. Deku does really well in one event, and look, he was still number 20. So if that's what's going to happen, then Mineta's going to be 19th, or in this timeline where Deku is going to be physically stronger than him and faster than him, he's probably going to be number 20, and Deku might be like number 15 or something like that. Another big change might be that Deku might actually want to be the class rep in this situation, and he would probably just help him out. And our next big event will probably be the training battle between Bakugo and Deku. I would randomize this, but I don't really have the time for it today. I feel like this, again, depends heavily on how powerful you make Deku physically. If he's as strong as like a million and stuff like that, he's going to be able to do this a lot easier. If not, there's a lot more trouble. I think a really cool moment you could have is that Deku basically grabs Bakugo's hands before he can make an explosion. And this is able to allow Deku to smother them and make them way too weak to blow him away. This is destroying his hands and burning them up really, really badly, but Bakugo can't fight anymore without, with his explosion. He's having to use his legs or maybe his head to headbutt and kick, but that's about all he can do right now. So Deku is just taking him by his arms, just slamming him into the metal walls and throwing them all around, and this is really hurting Bakugo, and at some point, he's probably going to pass out. Now, honestly, I wouldn't know where to take this story without doing manga spoilers. I'll probably have All Might give Lemillion one for all, or maybe Melissa Shield one for all because he knows her and she's quirkless and he probably reminds her of something, or she probably reminds him of himself like Deku does. But I really wouldn't know what to do this without doing manga spoilers. But yeah, I'm going to leave this here for now, and I hope you enjoyed the story, Xavier. And also from Podcast 3, Hakai Master asks, what if Hinata and Sakura swap teams? Now, if I were to actually do a scenario where they really swap teams, the way I would do that is maybe after the Land of Waves mission, Sakura is so shaken up by what she's seen and had to do that she basically just wants to stop being a ninja. Now, I don't think she'd be allowed to, just because if you think about it, the academy has put however many years you're in the academy into her training. That's a lot of wasted resources. So you have to get some type of quota or die in a position to really quit, in my opinion. But the Hokage isn't mean. He's actually a very, very nice and wise old man. So I think what he does is he decides, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to reassign you to a team that very likely will not have too many combat-oriented missions. This means that you won't have to fight too much, and most of your situations will just be go do the mission, face no combat situations, hopefully, and come back to the village. This is much more acceptable for Sakura, so I think she agrees with this. And what happens is, because Team 8 is a tracking team, the Hokage decides to switch out Hinata, who's the Kunichi on Team 8, with Sakura. And that'd be how I swap the teams. But for this situation, I really want to say it just happens out the gate, and that Team 7 starts off with Hinata on it. So let's say the Hokage wants to help out both Naruto and Sakura, or not Sakura, but Hinata, and he just knows that, okay, yeah, she's really shy, and she really has this connection with Naruto, so let's give her that type of teammate. And you could probably justify it by saying, oh, well, if you're going to put, the Sharingan user of the village on Team 7, then maybe giving him a teammate that has Byakugan will help him out and teach him how to, really use his dojutsu. Teams are assigned as normal, though Sakura is bummed out because no Sasuke, and Naruto is bummed out because he knows Sakura. And he also has Sasuke. And he still probably views Hinata as weird at this point in time. Hinata nearly passes out, but she's really happy. And Sasuke is dreading his team a lot less because he knows that Hinata's just never really annoyed him as much as Sakura Ino has. She's never really showed him any interest, and she's always taken her training pretty seriously. So he's a lot more open to having her as a teammate. So Naruto's still going to get him on his nerves, but from here, he's not as, angry or mopey as he was in the original timeline. And in this timeline, because Hinata is so much nicer, and because Naruto is such a social person, the time that they wait for Kakashi is filled with Naruto trying to make, conversation, and Hinata just blushing and stuttering and just barely being able to speak. But they are able to speak. And because of this, there is no prank from Naruto. And Naruto begins to figure out that she's more shy than weird, just little by little. Kakashi would then arrive and introduces himself, and then the introduction of the whole team are, going through pretty much the same. Naruto's and Sasuke's are pretty much the exact same thing, and Hinata would probably say the exact same thing she says to Kurenai. Now, like in the original timeline, I feel like they're going to go through the next day and do the bell test without eating breakfast, and Hinata and Sasuke are probably going to run away as soon as the challenge begins, while Naruto challenges Kakashi straight up. Now, seeing this, I think Hinata on instinct returns soon after to try and provide Naruto at least some support. This is actually going to make things a lot more interesting. See, Hinata is definitely a better taijutsu user than Naruto and can cover for his sloppy techniques and use his attacks to push Kakashi back even farther. Substitutions don't really work because Byakugan warns Hinata of where he is, and then an army of clones is sent right after him. So I think the match ends up going into a war of attrition, and it's a lot more hard fought. Kakashi isn't really getting tired, but he's really impressed at how well these two are working together, even though it's really just Naruto spamming shadow clones and trying to punch him and kick him and, grab the the bells, but Hinata is just really covering for his weaknesses right now. Finally, Hinata and Naruto get really close to getting the bells, and Kakashi just swings to the left to get out of their reach. When he does this though, a shuriken flies by and slices the bells off his belt. They then get pinned to a tree, and Sasuke jumps from another tree and grabs the bells. He is under the impression that only 2 people can pass, so he was basically out for himself. He really didn't care whether Naruto or Hinata really passed. I think Kakashi then ties him to the post and waits to see what happens. I think eventually both Naruto and Hinata share their lunches, and they do pass just by showing some teamwork capability. So let's skip the normal D-rank missions they would have and assume that Naruto still pushes for a C-rank mission, which is the Land of Waves. You could argue that Hinata notices the puddle the Demon Brothers are in before anything really happens, just by having the Byakugan active, and the full time is she's going to be able to see that that's like a puddle of chakra and stuff like that. But that's a waste of chakra when you really get down to it, so their attack goes nearly the exact same. Naruto makes his oath, and Hinata nervously offers him some medicine for his wounds. So when he heals, he's under the impression that her medicine is just that strong. And I think Hinata notices it and finds it strange, but she doesn't really question it just yet. Moving on from here, the Zabuza attack is likely extremely different. With one attack down, I think Hinata would have the Byakugan activated from now on. And she is discreetly going to warn the team, like, hey, there's a dude waiting up there for us. I honestly think if Kakashi had full knowledge of Zabuza's attack before it even happened, he may kill Zabuza before Zabuza even knows it. Like, he might just appear behind him, put him in the genjutsu, and just stab him through the throat. He's gone. Now, I'm not going to do that, so let's just say the team is already on guard when he reveals himself. So when he lands on the tree, all they're getting is just throw kunai, forcing him to dodge. And he's throwing off his rhythm right here and now. Kakashi then engages him in combat, and we'll say this goes really similar, though I think Hinata maybe tries to help in Naruto's plan. I'm not really sure how she could, but she could definitely try and help. Maybe she also throws a shuriken, but you never really know. Story matches up to canon from here until the tree walking. I think Hinata's chakra control is nearly comparable to Sakura's, not the exact same, but very similar. And even if you argue that it's not, she can literally just activate her Byakugan and look and see how much chakra Kakashi is using to walk up the tree, and just replicate that through trial and error. So she gets it way quicker, and Naruto, already having started to develop this friendship with Hinata, he's going to be less hesitant to ask her, hey, how are you doing that? And Hinata being Hinata, she's going to stammer and blush and be really nervous about it, but she's definitely going to help her crush out. So what now they can basically do is Hinata can just look at Naruto's feet as he gathers the chakra there and tell him that he's using too much or maybe too little, or try and direct him to get just the right amount. And they do this again and again and again until finally Naruto maybe gets it within like an hour or 30 minutes. And I think if Sasuke sees this, he's definitely going to get jealous, and he's probably going to be too prideful to ask Hinata for help as well. Though I think it's debatable. Sasuke probably respects Hinata, and Hinata probably feels enough, loyalty and compassion for her teammates to make sure that they are both getting the training they need to survive this next fight. So she might go and tell him how to do it just on her own. Whether Sasuke accepts his help or not is again debatable to me. Now, if Kakashi doesn't try and teach Naruto and Hinata something new after they complete tree walking, like maybe he shows them water walking to even further improve their chakra control, he's probably going to have Hinata try and help Naruto's taijutsu. But if he decides to teach them water walking next, then Sasuke definitely asks for help, refusing to let Naruto surpass him in anything. Either way, all of Team 7 are stronger by the time of the actual bridge fight, and Naruto and Hinata are definitely a lot closer. Hinata's confidence is also steadily rising, and if Sasuke receives that help from her, he may become a bit more cooperative in this timeline a lot earlier. Now in the fight from the bridge, Naruto isn't late from chakra exhaustion due to how he's trained, and he likely hasn't met Haku. This could also spell disaster for Inoue and his mother though. I think Naruto gets involved in the fight between Haku and Sasuke nearly instantly, and with greater chakra control, I could definitely see Naruto surrounding Tasuno and Hinata with clones, allowing Hinata to join the fight, but I doubt it. With her Byakugan, I feel like she's gonna stay back and try and protect Tasuno. Now, the Haku fight would likely be a bit different, but I would argue that greater chakra control won't be a major power boost in like speed and strength and stuff like that. So maybe Sasuke's fireball could be a bit stronger and he might be able to use them a lot more since chakra control is better. But Naruto can make more clones, but again, this is still no huge difference. Only argument I can make is Sasuke's Sharingan could be more effective since again his chakra control is better in this timeline. So if this happens, then Sasuke goes down, and I think that Naruto would still go into his Nine Tails chakra cloak. though I think he kills Haku pretty ruthlessly. Remember, Naruto doesn't know Haku, so even if he breaks his mask and sees his face, he's still completely angry because he thinks that Sasuke has been killed. So if this happens, then Haku dies by Naruto's hands, and Kakashi just really easily kills Zabuza with the lightning blade. Gato will then reveal himself and his thugs, but again, Naruto has better chakra control here, so he can probably make the army of clones needed to take on the thugs just by himself. Kakashi might not even have to do anything. Now, when returning home to Tazuna's house, a startling realization is made. I think it's possible that Inari and Tsunami, I think that's her name, are alive, but maybe roughed up. But I think they would likely be slaughtered in their own home. This has a few different effects. Sasuke gets flashback to his family's murder, which makes him extremely angry, and he kind of regrets that he didn't have the power to stop this, or Haku. Hinata basically just cries. This is a tragedy, and a lot like Sasuke, she is very sad she couldn't do anything about it. Kakashi again gets flashbacks because he's always lived a sad life, and this is just more on top of that. Naruto is gonna, well, I'll get back to Naruto. Tazuna is heartbroken. I think he's gonna finish up the bridge, and he might even jump off of it. He's lost everything at this point. And finally, Naruto is probably the most upset because out of everyone, he could have stopped this. It's one of those what if I could have done scenarios. I think he makes a vow very similar to what Sasuke and Hinata tried to do here, and they all tried to get as strong as possible to protect innocent lives. This is going to really affect Naruto's seriousness in his shinobi duties and Hinata's confidence and outlook on life. Sasuke wouldn't change too much, but his heart may open up a small amount earlier than it does in canon. And they are all pretty much galvanized as a team to really connect by the death of a little boy and his mom that they just couldn't save. Okay, guys, I gotta stop. Talking about child murder has basically depressed me. Sorry to end it on such a sour note. Though, let me know if you guys like these longer what ifs or going back to doing multiple shorter what ifs. And let me know if you want to see any of these what ifs continued. I will definitely do that. Like, I would kind of like to do this Hinata on Team 7 scenario a little bit longer. I've seen it done on a lot of other channels, which is why I don't really want to make a main series out of it. But I'm going way too long. Like I said, let me know if you like these longer or shorter ones. And huge shout out to my patrons. Please be sure to comment your thoughts and what ifs using hashtag PlusUltraFam. Do not worry about how many comments you have. I'll probably read all of them just because I like really reading the comments here. You don't have to just make what if comments. I just like to see the interesting comments, like what you guys thought about the what ifs, stuff like that. But yeah, guys, try and give a what if of every series I've covered, and I might start doing one person's like scenarios from My Hero, Dragon Ball, and Naruto for each podcast. But let me know what you guys want. I will do what you guys want. But as always, take care of yourselves and go beyond. Plus Ultra. See you guys next time.